Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super VEGITO, which is another premium Bandai release. But is it actually premium? That's the question. This one maybe more so at least than Zama's. I think that one was a big fat dud. This one has some things that are going for it. It also does some things which are oddly wrong, which it's like, why? Because they never did that before. We'll talk about all of it. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands to the top of where the head would be, let's just say like, I don't know, 14.25 centimeters, which puts him at just about, let's say 5.5 inches. And just so that you have an idea, because not all of the parts are the same. Some of the parts are the same, some are not. Obviously, the boots are a little bit different if you couldn't tell. Let me change the camera so you have the right perspective. They're almost exactly the same height. I guess I didn't need to go through all of that to say that. But you guys like comparisons, so you get comparisons. Alright, so while we're here, before we move on to a question of the day, which hopefully I don't forget, there is one thing that's weird about this guy, because I'm pretty sure these chests are the same, which means the necks should be the same, but for some reason they're not. The neck on VEGITO is a different neck, and the head sits higher on it. So it's a different neck, and the head seems to sit too high. He's got a very skinny, lanky neck situation. It may not be readily apparent, but I'll show you this. If we swap out the two heads, because the torsos are the same, mostly, you'll see that the Goku head looks perfectly fine on this body. Other than, we'll get to the neck issue, but that head sits just fine there. But if we put this head on this body, it still has that gangly thing. So I believe the issue is with the head. I believe that they did not recess it far enough when they put the peg in. So the neck, oh my gosh, the head sits too high on the neck, and it does break the look of the figure a little bit. But also that does go to show you, if you really wanted to for some reason, you could give Goku this outfit with a simple head swap. But yeah, so back to the neck situation, you can see right here, normally their necks don't look great, but this one, it's like clearly way too high. It doesn't even go in barely. It's very high and strange. I don't know why they gave us a new neck and then also seated the head too high on top of it. I don't know if they were trying to make him taller or something. Oh my gosh, I hate these ball hinges so much. Ball pegs. Where are the ball pegs? So yeah, there's something iffy with the neck. Let me know if you guys have that same problem, at least with the bottom part of the neck, but also with the top. Maybe mine's just some kind of weird freakish dud. Okay, so back to the aesthetic, but first, question of the day. I think I know the answer to this one, but you guys can still let me know. Is it, which one do you prefer, VEGITO or Gogeta? I prefer Gogeta. I think a lot of you guys prefer VEGITO based on things I've heard before, but let me know what you think. To me, this is just not as much of an interesting design. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. We have shading in the pants, which actually looks pretty good. They did a dark blue. I don't think it's black, and they shot it this way so that it actually looks like it's from the shadows of the pants, which is really nice. But that's the only place it is? Gosh darn it, why? There's no shading up here at all. Why? There's like a tiny bit on his crotch, tiny bit, but there's none up here. And then the paint they used for the orange doesn't look good at all. It looks very cheap and chalky. It's not actually like flat colored, but it's like thick. It looks thick and not good. So that is definitely a problem. Why? Another premium Bandai release that's not very premium if you ask me. But there are some things. We'll get to the good things, the especially good things. I think the faces are pretty good on this guy, by the way. They look nice. You can see how much his head looks like it's sitting on top of his neck rather than connected to it, though. But yeah, I like the faces. The paint job for the earrings is good. You guys can let me know how you feel about the hair. I'm fine with it being metallic. I know a lot of people hate the metallic hair. I could take it or leave it, but it's fine with me. The pearliness on it makes it have a certain glow, so I think that's okay. No shading on the skin tone, no shading on the white. If there's shading on the belt, it's so subtle I can't quite tell under these lights. So yeah, it's definitely nothing special. It's fine. The neck's definitely a problem, but otherwise it's fine. The shading's not good. Aesthetically speaking, there's nothing good about this. Not really, so 7 out of 10. or like exceptionally good. 7 out of 10 for the aesthetic. All right, that's just not acceptable for a premium Bandai release so far. But let's talk about the accessories. We'll start with the hands. We have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package. Then we have his karate chop hand. Then we have a wide open hand. Then we have another style pose hand. Those are all for specific uses, stylistically or posing wise. And the karate chop hand can be used with his effect part, which we'll get to. Then we have a Naruto jutsu hand. Then we have 2 wide open hands, 2 clenchy hands, and a clenchy hand with a hole in it to hold one of his effect parts. So we'll talk about that. So we have the effect part, which is the charging of the ball with the lightning, and I love this. I love the fact that it's 2 tones, 2 different colors, and that he can hold it properly as opposed to the old Goku charge effects, which just kind of sat there. I like this one a whole lot, so that's a really nice piece. It's nice and translucent. Very good. I do want to talk about the heads now, though, before we get to the other effect part. We have the neutral head that comes on him in the package where he's just kind of smirking. Then we have the teeth gritted one, which I think is exceptionally well done. I love that head. Then we have the yelling head, which I think is also exceptionally well done. I love that head. And then we have the other yelling head where he's charging and looking off to the side, and we have the windswept hair, and it is also exceptionally well done. But if you'll notice something, all of the heads have the front 2 hair pieces missing because it's interchangeable for the interchangeable faces, except the windswept one. That one's permanent. Why couldn't that one be interchangeable as well? Just because he's not looking to the side on the other head doesn't mean we can't swap the parts out. That drives me nuts. There's no reason for that. No good reason. Okay, and then the last thing is his giant effect part, which is his pineapple saber or whatever. I don't know what it's called. I never know what these things are called. I know like the main names of the main like iconic moves, but this one's like Soul Saber or I don't know, Burning Finger, Stinky Finger, I don't know. Anyway, this one's exceptional. It's probably the best effect part they've ever made. It's so good. Which makes me wonder, why do we still not have a special beam cannon? Anyway, this is really good. You can put it on his hand, his karate chop hand. You can even take the tip off, and you can put this thing on the Fusion Zamasu, or Zama, I don't know. I think they call him Zamasu in the show, which is totally wrong. Anyway, you can make it look like it's going through him, and that's really cool too. So, definitely better accessories than on the other Zamasu figure, which just came out. But still, I'm a little irritated by the hair piece. Still, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. That's a lot of hands, plenty of faces, effect parts. I'm very pleased. But the fact that you can't swap out those hair pieces is just, to me, not a reasonable thing. You had to make both pieces anyway. Just make it swappable. Make them the same profile so that when they peg in, they're interchangeable. That's all. That would have set it off. But nope, can't do it. I don't like that. But the faces are excellent. Okay, I already gave you an 8, so it doesn't matter anymore anyway. So you already saw the articulation for the head, and look how much it sits on top of the neck. Holy crap, is he long-necked now. Gosh. If you do it just right, like if you do that, it doesn't look as bad, but you can tell you're cheating it, and that the face is offset. So yeah, you get extra range out of it, out of the top. Out of the bottom, it's still equally bad as it always is. His neck situation is just screwed up. I might be... Ooh, should I try that? I was going to say, what if I pulled... No, because I was going to say, if I pop off this, pull this out, put the Goku one in, even though the colors are off a little bit, that might help. But this looked bad on Goku too. I don't think there's any quick fix for this. So that's kind of a bummer. Alright, anyway. So for the shoulders, we are back to the same old type of shoulder sleeve things, which are big and clunky, and I really want them to just make them part of this shirt and then just rotate. This should be connected to the shirt, just have a swivel on the sleeve part, and the shoulders can articulate outside from there. Instead, we have this butterfly joint of skin tone poking through the shirt, which just looks ridiculous. There's no reason the inside butterfly joint should match the skin rather than the sleeve. That looks ridiculous, and you still don't even get much range out of it because of... Look how far in that butterfly joint is. You can't even see it, barely. So it's almost worthless. You got a big, long peg to let the arm move around. But for what? Because you have a sleeve here, you can't even use it. It's just lazy at this point. They're just reusing so many parts that don't make sense and not improving on things. Like the 2.0 figures definitely saw an improvement, but they can do iterative improvements rather than just waiting until like 5 years from now or whenever they do a 3.0. The shoulder situation's not good. Like, you can't raise the arm even. It's terrible. Look at that. It looks like butts and it can't raise. That sucks. You get your full rotation, of course. So like certain poses definitely look better. But basic things don't work at all. Bicep swivel's in there, double jointed elbows in there, wrist is on a ball hinge, little ball hinge as usual, that's all fine. Torso, we've seen this all before, so it's perfectly usable. There's a hinge in there to help him lean forward. I'm still not a huge fan of that. Double ball pegs would be fine, but it works just fine. Belt is a floaty belt. Hips go all the way out to the side. No real problems there. Going forward won't be an issue. Going back won't be an issue. This is your run-of-the-mill Goku at this point, for the most part. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine. It's one of the better examples. And then for these booted feet, you can't bring the foot... Oh, I thought we were going to lose that one. You can't bring the foot back very far or it pops off. So you have very limited range going back. Going forward, it's just a tiny bit. And then for the ankle rocker, it's just a tiny bit. And I thought maybe it was like a slip joint so you can get more out of it. It just pops off. So it's not a slip joint, or at least mine's stuck. Very terrible ankles. Like, come on. At this point, Bandai, there's no reason these ankles should be this bad. You've done so much better in the same line. For the toe hinge, it gets a tiny bit of range. I can't get it to go any farther. So it's like, okay, I guess that's better than nothing, but they're still not even good toe hinges. So there's still things about these releases that are really not what they should be. I mean, these are expensive figures, and especially the PB ones, they're even more expensive, and these are not premium releases, except for the effect parts. Now, I'll give you that. The effect parts do put this over the top. But the figure itself, the core figure, is lacking in a lot of ways. So, I don't know how I feel about it. Anyway, okay, for the articulation, 7, I guess. Now for the final release, back to what I was saying. I don't know how I feel about this whole premium Bandai thing. I don't know. I get that they could sell some that are like the more expensive figures anyway, like Ginyu and that kind of stuff, and that could be a PB release just because of the higher price point. But selling regular figures at a higher price point on PB just because really chaps my nethers. But at least on this one, the effect parts offset that. So I'm okay with it on this one, but that other one, boy, oh boy, did that one bug me. But yeah, the shading being only on the pants is really ridiculous. That's nuts. That's obviously not how it should be. So that really bugs me. So final verdict on this guy. If he didn't have the effect parts, he'd be a 7. With the effect parts, I'm still only going to make it like an 8.5. Because it's great to get effect parts finally. But if that means we're going to get figures that only have half the body painted and terrible shoulder designs and ankles that don't work, then that's not really a good enough reason or a good enough trade-off. So yeah, we're kind of in this weird limbo with the Figuarts, I think, where some things are improving on a regular basis, and then other things that are not improving or maybe even falling backwards. It seems like the ones that are new, like let's say Super Boo or Broly, like the completely like full-on scratch build things mostly are like exceptional, like really good releases. And then the things that aren't are like markedly worse. And that's kind of bothersome. The consistency is starting to bug me a little bit. Although Piccolo was mostly new parts and he was a bag of butts. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about the whole situation with the Figuarts and the Gokus. I say Gokus because there's so many of them, but you know what I mean, like the core body. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should consider it because I have new videos almost every single day, and I do have thousands, literally, already on the channel, just waiting for you to watch them. So come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.